Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the AMX Global League Season 3. We are back for our final race of the night. AMX 10, the pinnacle competition this season. We are on Imola racing GT3s, so it doesn't get much more iconic than this. The San Marino Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it. It is one of the most famous tracks, one of the oldest tracks out there, and has hosted some of the best names, the biggest races in the world. And so tonight we are bringing it out with a very iconic car or cars, the GT3 class. But before we do that, we have to break down a little bit of what we can expect. If you are new to AMX Global League this season, here's what you can expect. We started on the September 20th, and we're going all the way to December 10th, about 3 months for our racers to fight for over $25,000. We have the most races in a year, 72, unless you can show me otherwise, and a really cool variety of cars and track combinations like the one today, GT3s on Imola. Now, the race format is by far the coolest part of this season. We're doing a 15-minute qualifier, then a 15-minute heat, then a 15-minute second heat. And in between each one of those, we reverse grid the top 15. Now, that can make things a little bit chaotic, so you do want to remember to drive defensively. Be on the lookout because it gets crazy out there. So if you can dip, dodge, duck, and dive through everything and make your way to the top of the grid, you will be fighting for $601 every single time we race in AMX 10 this season. So there's a lot on the line, and we do it 72 times this season. So there's a lot of chances, but at the same time can be very, very challenging. Now here's some final housekeeping measures. This is AMX 10, and so we require you to turn on your webcam or camera or phone or whatever you want to use. Join the AMX Discord, which you can find on our website, amxrace.com. And there's a link in there for you to join for our AMX 10 race. Every time you earn over $100, we do pay that out once every month, and we're racing Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So sign up on amxrace.com to come out here, join us, and fight for your part of $601 per day and for $25,000 and more this season. Okay, let's take a look at the times that you can join. I mentioned Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, but if you're in the Americas region, we are doing it Wednesday evenings and then weekends in the afternoon, starting at 12:50. And of course, this AMX race starts at 12:20. So, or 2:20. Sorry, I never learned how to read. And if you are in the European time zone, well, then you're in luck because we've got a special slide just for you. We're racing a little bit late on Thursday, but if you want to wait until the weekend evenings at 6:50 and 8:20, we are racing AMX 10 and AMX 0. So feel free to join us on the weekends or whenever you want to join. We'd be happy to have you. AMX 10, it is open to everyone over 2,000 I ratings. So we're trying to get some really, really refined competition in here. You can see a few of the cars out there already finishing their practice laps. In the meantime, let's talk about what they're racing for. We're giving away $40 for each qualifier, Heat 1 and Heat 2, with reverse grids in between for first place. And we give away prize money all the way down to 15th place, as well as $5 for fastest lap for each one of the heats. So you do not want to miss your chance at coming away with $601 a total of $601 up for grabs for all of our racers in AMX 10 this season. One note is that we also give that away for qualifying. So everything counts, every single moment. So make sure to do your best, like these guys did. It's Diogo Pinto, Kyle Gaspar, Jackson Resenge, Corentin Ganez, and Gael Valero make up your top 5. And if you'll notice the races raced, right? That says, okay, when you come out and race, how much are you winning each time? You got the top 12 up there on your screen, and this is total earnings right now. But we've also kind of reformulated it to show you, okay, when they race, how much are they winning on average per race? So I'll be able to show that to you here in just a second. But for right now, this is what they have won so far, but there's a lot more than that on the line this season. We've got AMX 10 champion will receive an FG Elite from our good friends at Next Level Racing. Next Level Racing make racing and flight sim cockpits galore, some of the best in the business, so make sure to check them out and say thanks for partnering with us this season to provide our champion of AMX 10, an FG Elite. $1,299 value. If you're looking at that, if you just want a new sim rig, it doesn't get much better than that. So big thanks to Next Level Racing for hooking us up this season, and I'm curious to see who's going to win that. I got some ideas, but I'll hold those for myself. Now, if you want to join us here on AMX 10, then it costs about $10. Not exactly $10. But if you're fast enough, for this month only, we are allowing the first 10 entrants into each AMX 10 daily race to get in for free. So if you're fast enough, in keeping with this being a racing competition, then head over to amxrace.com. Sign up for free for your chance at $600 to $1 on the line every single time we go out racing for AMX 10 this season. We got about 15, 20 more times, so lots of chances for you to win. And that's going to do it for our housekeeping. That's all the announcements we have for today. So let's go ahead and get into it by breaking down what and where we are racing so far. And for that, I'm going to turn things over to my co-caster, Amir.
Thanks a lot, Reed, and hopefully my mic's working properly this time. We're at Imola, or its full glamorous name, the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari, named after the founder of Ferrari SPA, and his son, also named after Ferrari Dino. It's located in Imola, just outside of, close to Milan, but it's actually close to the Emilia-Romagna region. Opened in 1953, and with a length of about 4.9 kilometers, and it's really one of the best circuits in world motorsports, with Formula 1 being there, of course, quite recently.
Indeed. Great track to kind of showcase your talents on. If you want a track to practice, you're going to see this one in almost every pro competition out there, not to mention real racing, sim racing across the board, internationally renowned. And when it comes to those international renowns, if you're looking to get out there and race, it doesn't get much more popular than the GT3 class. Some of the biggest brands and manufacturers in auto sports have contributed to some of the best cars out there, up to 600 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, 1,300 kilograms, whatever that is, and a sequential gearbox set up for one of the most iconic and powerful cars that we race out here. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight, Amir.
And we have several manufacturers being represented as well. We got Ferraris, we got BMWs, we got Mercedes, and even a Lamborghini for good measure, with a couple of Audis involved as well. So that's pretty much a whole slew of cars, a smorgasbord of manufacturers involved, and can't wait for the action to begin.
Right on board with you. We also have some of the best liveries you've ever seen on GT3s. Not only the sick logo-laden pro liveries, but a few existential liveries sprinkled in there. So I can't wait to see what sort of artistry we have out there, not just on the cars, but in the cars. Some of the best drivers in the world joining us today for AMX 10, not just to compete for the prize money, but also because it really is just a grand test of skills. So as we head into qualifying for our time here on Imola, it is going to be a really exciting trip to check out what we have in store. Not only just because we have amazing racers doing amazing things, but it looks different every single time, right? There's new challenges. There's sometimes where you're just in the zone. You're in that flow state, and you hit every corner. You're faster than you've ever done before, and really exciting to see. Let's see what we have here as we get a little bit inside each other. A whole bevy of our Team Redline liveries as they rock the Ferraris out of the pits and onto the track. Try to set their qualifying times as we head into the first of 15 minutes qualifiers here in AMX 10, race 12.
Surprise, surprise, guess who's at the front of the line? It's Max Verstappen for Team Redline in the number 8 Ferrari 296. He wants to get going in qualifying, being at the front of the line, get a lot of clear air at the front.
Yeah, it can be a lot of noise, some traffic out there. We do have quite a few racers joining us today. I'm thinking about 20, if I'm not mistaken. So quite a big field. So if you can get out there, get that rarefied air, the clear air up front. You actually don't want rarefied air. It doesn't have enough oxygen for the engine. What you want is clear air, clean air in the front, and Max has got it. So we'll see what he's able to do tonight. And we are racing GT3s, so it is important to note that, in other competitions, if you're racing GT3s and you there's different rules, different tracks, different formats. This is a unique situation for us here today. So we're going to reverse grid. We have kind of short race times, but qualifying is the same no matter when and where you do it. So you really do want to come out here and show us what you got, because this is a nice benchmark for you to have GT3s out here tonight. So I haven't seen any times pop up just yet, as our racers are still making their way around, but getting to watch Max Verstappen on board is still a real treat, because you are going to see a lot of racing excellence here, and might even learn a thing or two.
Yep. Recently crowned 3-time world champion in Formula 1, shows us a way around the circuit that he has also won twice, being the only repeat winner of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. As he comes out now to the Tamburello chicane, let's see if he's going to mount the curb. Oh, he's not going to mount it too much, just avoid the sausage curb on the inside for all 3 corners, and gets up back on the power as soon as he can. But is as tidy as you like. As we look further behind, that's one of his teammates in the Team Red Line cars. I think that's Gianni Vecchio, who's driving also a 296.
Yeah, we're a little bit more forgiving on those track limits there, so trying to improve our racecraft. And indeed, when he comes to racecraft, doesn't get much better than Gianni Vecchio. This guy's cashing in and out every single race. It seems doing a really incredible job this season, representing not only himself but his team very, very well. He is in the Ferrari, and I think a lot of our racers tonight are favoring the Ferrari. We do have quite a few prancing horses out there on the grid. Also quite a few BMWs, so not a stranger to the top of the tables when it comes to GT3s. Even a few, actually, I say a few, but it's 2 Mercedes, 2 Audis. Yeah, and a little bit of everything. We have quite a few manufacturers represented tonight, so I just really want to see where does the top of the table lie. And it may very well lie with this man on your screen, Kieran Harrison. Now, Kieran has done some amazing things, including a photo finish in AMX 0 earlier on. He is rocking the BMW tonight, and I'm really excited to see what he has to show us. Hasn't set a lap time just yet, so he's down there at the bottom, but I'm absolutely expecting a very tight competition from this man on your screen at the front of the field when he puts a lap up.
Speaking of photo finishes, I've seen a couple of very close finishes at Imola in other sim titles. So if Harrison were to pull off another one, that would make it 3 in 3 in terms of how much he has actually put on the line on the final lap.
Now, in real life, when you're racing at Imola, it comes down, and you're racing in GT3s, it comes down to about a 140.375, which set by Nicky Thim a little bit earlier last year, the GT Challenge World Cup Europe. So that's right around where our times are going to be here, but with some hope, right, for improvement. We're at 141 up at the top with Harrison and Verstappen. 2 of the guys we've already gotten a chance to talk about, but with Gael Valero nipping at their heels in that 142 range, we really are going to see quite a range of times as we start to warm things up. In the first 5 minutes of qualifying, plenty of time left to go to get that positioning, get out of the traffic, get some clean air for yourself, and warm things up a little bit.
Let's not forget, you also want to put in their banking laps as well, in case something goes wrong in that first lap, or subsequent laps. At least they got a lap time in to beat afterwards, as Chris Lollam, no, that's not Lollam actually, that's number 20, Josh Bowen. Yeah, Bowen in the Nyan Cat livery Lamborghini. He's going off meta completely. So it'll be interesting to see how he will fare against some of the fast Ferraris.
Yeah, and they are going to be very, very fast. I always kind of do a little mental checklist. Okay, where are we at for constructors, right? It's rough, right? Because maybe you have some favorites and you just really get used to it. But some are or do seem to be doing a little bit more better competitively. So you're going to see a lot of that Ferrari at the tops. Tom Burns is working his way up the field. Chris Lullam, we got a chance to see him earlier in pole provisionally. Kieran Harrison, Max, Gael, and Rodrigo Laskowski. We haven't seen him too often up here, but he's got some great times on the board so far. And as we ride on board with Chris Lullam, he's really shown us how to get it done. I mean, there are just hundreds between him and Harrison Verstappen right behind, but still, as you get closer to that real-world 140 mark, you are really contesting some of the best drivers out there. So A lot to learn every single corner, and we'll see what happens as Victor Miranda goes fastest up into the 141.749.
Yep, and he's actually the best of the non-red line drivers in that Ferrari with the Tony Kanaan car up to pole position. In fact, Ariel has beaten him to that by 0.3 of a second. So it's a 1-2 for the Brazilians with Chris Lawton, the best of the red line, in third.
Yeah, and when you're talking about iRating, it doesn't get much better than Gustavo Ariel. I mention this every time, probably going to keep doing it. It's so sick. 10,901. So putting the points up there on the board, you're going to expect some great things. But keep in mind, we're reverse gridding. So the first will be last and the last first, going down to 15th. Top 15 gets swapped around. Man, you can see the iRatings there on your screen right now. 4, count them. Black tags up there for the pro licenses with a few WCs on the board, and Gustavo Ariel and Gael Valero putting up some of the best performances iRacing has to offer. So really just hosting some of the best racers out there, and it's exciting to see even more and more refinement as we continue to put up some of these top lap times with about half the time left in qualifying, so plenty of time left to see these improve.
And it's quite frightening, isn't it? Especially if you're driving with one of the lowest ratings in this split. The SOF is very high, especially when you got a 3-time Formula 1 world champion in here, along with some really fast sim drivers. It's just, it's an elite level class, isn't it? These guys going at it at the top of the field.
Speaking of, Gianni Vecchio had yet to set a time through 8 minutes and finally gets up there, hits a 141.72, pieces back out to the pit. He's going to try again, fastest lap after fastest lap, and he's dangerously close to that fastest lap time. Victor Miranda, we're on board with him, not content for third fastest and continuing to drive to improve. You thought I was going to say survive, didn't you?
Yeah, nearly wanted to say I was going to be Gunther Steiner for a second, but we're not going to see 40s, at least because of the fact that the track conditions are very hot. It's almost 40, 50 degrees even on track. Air temperature is quite cool, but that's the reason why the lap times are not as fast as we are expecting, because hot temperatures mean slower lap times.
Yeah, that's a good point. You always have to be mindful of the situation, right? I mean, we were racing on Spa earlier today, and you never know what to expect when you walk through that door. So similarly here, you might not see quite as fast a lap time, given that the conditions might be somewhat inclement. So on board with Ariel, this guy is also still out there trying to set a fastest lap and continues to really have only himself to race against. A lot of yellow sectors out there for everybody else. And you can see a big smile on his face right now because he knows that he is leading the pack. That is one of the most competitive group of racers we've seen all season long. And really, if you had this exact tower in any race out there, everybody's looking at this top 3, top 5, top 10 and saying, oh my God, these guys are so good. And to be number 1 right there, that's going to put a smile on just about anybody's face. Ariel enjoying his time up there at the top.
Yeah, I'll be quite chuffed as well to see a stacked field like this, and I'm up in front. So Ariel has every right to be smiling at that one. 10.9 KI rating says it all, why he is the best of the field. But don't count your chickens just yet. We still have about 5 minutes left in qualifying after this to see if anyone can actually stop him for pole position.
I was about to start counting those chickens, Amir, so saved my life again. On board, Kieran Harrison, one of our earliest fastest times, is now good enough for 5th, but I don't think that's where he wants to finish in the final 5 minutes of qualifying. Let's see what he's able to accomplish here. One of, I believe, 2, question mark, 2.5, given that the flag is still there on Tom Burns. So there's quite a few British flags out there. He and Lulland are competing for that top 4 spot, and I believe we've seen great lap times not only on this exact track, but in GT3s before for Harrison. So I'm excited to see what he's got for us tonight. On board now, Gianni Vecchio, one of the masters of his class here in GT3s, and specifically the Ferrari that he's got right now under his control. I'm so excited to see what this guy's going to throw down here in one of the final runs of our qualifier.
Oh, you love to be on pole on home soil, of course, because Imola is located smack bang in Emilia-Romagna region in Italy. So, in a Ferrari, being Italian, We'd love to be on pole position, Reed. Oh, man, he stopped it there, though. Unfortunately, spoke too soon. Oh, my word.
Ruined. And straight back to the pits, man. Yeah, I think he just saw some yellow sectors pop up. And he's like, meh, not really worth finishing. Head back, start it over again, try to get out there and set that fastest lap. So let's see what's going on. We got quite a few back in the pits. Got Tom Burns back there. Max Verstappen heading back to the pits, ready to get things back up to tip-top condition before heading out and trying to set that big, bad, fastest lap. Kyle Gaspar, whoa, big spin there by Jackson Resenge. That's not going to be a fastest lap for sure. But with a bunch of green sectors, that is good enough for a big improvement there. Kyle Gaspar starting to try to come up, and Victor Miranda in third. So it's getting harder and harder, tougher and tougher as we see some more of these better and better laps be put out there. Vecchio out of the pits and into what is going to be an absolute banger of a lap, I am sure. So cannot wait to see what happens in our final 3 minutes of qualifier.
There's enough time for some drivers who are entering the pit lane prior to this to do an out lap, and at least one flyer, except for Resende just now. He got his lap completely compromised by exiting Vecchio, who was just trying to get his tires up to temperature after exiting the pit lane. Blocked him a bit, and that kind of stalled his qualifying. So that's the kind of danger you have to run in, especially when you have a pit lane that transitions onto the track that soon in Imola.
And Imola is a real beast of a track. So many, I don't want to say complications, because at the end of the day, there are quite a few, I guess, gentler areas. But when you get down there, turn 7, you're really going to start to see the challenge pick up, as if not all incredibly challenging. So it's something to keep an eye on as we watch, once again, our provisional pole sitter, but probably going to be in good contention for that final top spot. Ariel just hitting everything, a little bit off there, but still by far the best drive tonight. Still not quite on that 140 we were talking about, although weather not withstanding, we are still seeing better and better improvements. Kyle Gaspar comes through with a 143, 142 for Zamperlini, and those aren't going to be good enough. I don't even know if they have enough time for another lap coming through here with less than 140 left in regulation. We really do need to see some improvements from our racers who are finishing up. Here in Harrison coming through, but I think he hit a yellow sector earlier, so I don't. So we are starting to wind down here. Lullum up the second, or in second, is probably pretty happy with that. I don't think he's going to really have enough time to refine. Ariel still on that provisional pole, and as we wind down to the final minute, it doesn't look like we might have any others coming through, and this might just be what our final standings look like through our qualifying session for AMX 10 tonight.
Yeah, the track evolution is not as fast as we were expecting, but again, it goes back to that argument we made earlier that the weather is not really permitting for that, shall we say, because 49 degrees track temperature is not going to help out with grip whatsoever. As you can see, grass tracking goes Gale Valero, so Valero then trying to find an extra bit of time even when he goes grass cutting.
Oh, yeah, no, he is absolutely trying for this at the buzzer. Can he beat it? 15 seconds left, and I think he might just make it through. We're going to see another one of these buzzer beaters, Amir. I don't think so. I don't actually think he's fast enough.
Highly unlikely, because he's got 4 seconds left, and he's only just exiting through the Variante Alta. Yep, that's it. Qualifying's done for him.
Okay, well, I mean, he was going for it, but valiant effort. Kyle Valier. No, it doesn't work. Either way, a really impressive qualifying from all of our racers. And let's see where the standings stand after our qualifiers here, as we get to check out the beautiful countryside. I think Marco's out there somewhere in the distance. Let's see what the standings look like. Gustavo Ariel, Chris Lullum, and Gianni Vecchio round out your top 3. Vivek Miranda, Kieran Harrison, and Max Verstappen, your top 6 in qualifiers. Max Verstappen, of course, not playing for Team Reedline, although as somebody with that name, I approve. Quarantine Guinness there in 7th, right below him, representing SimRC, along with Kieran Harrison. So a lot of teammates up there in top. Also, Texaco Racing by Tony Kanaan being very well represented on our team lineups. The 15th spot, the cutoff there at the bottom for the reverse grid, will go to Pedro Oliveira. Gaston Calavi and Josh Perwin will be swapped up into the top 3 for the provisional podium spots coming into heat number 1, and that is going to be a very coveted role, but with a very difficult time defending against, once again, some of the best racers in the world.
Yep, and well, for Bowen's case, I know that he has the driving qualities to make it so, to defend as hard as he could, but again, the I rating involved with some of the guys behind him, it's just going to be hard work for him. So, grid, we have a Brazilian and an Argentine on the front row with Pedro Oliveira and Gaston Gulhavi in first and second. Josh Bowen third in front of Fabio Zampolini, so Australian in the mix in there with Jackson Resende in fifth, Tom Burns in sixth, Kyle Gaspar seventh, Guy Valero eighth after going grass trucking towards the end of the session. He's up in P8. Ninth, Corentin Gines, and 10th, Max Verstappen, who will be the first of the red line guys, and in the best position possible, I should say, to make the best start here at the front, Reed.
That's a great way to put it, Amir. He does start in P10, and of course, we do have quite a few racers with us tonight, so the field goes down all the way to 25th, although I don't believe we are gridding absolutely everyone out there. So let's see what our rolling start is like as we get started for our first of not enough laps. Never enough. I could watch this go on into eternity. If this were the race that never ends, I would be happy for the rest of my life, Amir. We've got great cars, liveries, tracks, drivers, everything and all of the above going swimmingly here tonight. I can't wait to get things started.
Yep, we got a green flag wave here, so we are underway. Oliveira gets the jump on Gulhavi. Green flag wave quite early, and he was on the button coming up to the start-finish line through the Variante Bassa. What's left of it anyway. You should be a chicane. Now it's just a king. Onto the start-finish straight they go. It's 3 wide, 4 wide even in certain places coming up to Tambirello for the first time. And it looks as though Oliveira has managed to jump ahead of Gulhavi with Josh Bowen still in third, Reed.
Oh, a little bit of wiggling from some of those red line liveries in the middle of the pack as the climb continues. On board with Verstappen is caught in the thick of it. Dead middle of the pack in ninth there, so very, very careful racing is required. Up at the front, we've got Oliveira and Kalavi Perwin pulling away, but it's still incredibly, incredibly close. All of our racers, for the most part, still on the track, so we're keeping it clean through our first lap of 8 here at Imola. It's going to be an exciting start, but also a dangerous one as we come through one of the sharper curves there. We see Miranda dropping down. Zamperlini actually dropping down even more as Lullum passes him. So many places being swapped here as we begin, but already you see Lullum, Miranda climbing up and starting their drive towards the top 5.
Oh, Zampolini's dropping like a stone after being overtaken by Verstappen coming out to Piratella. Now he's going to be swamped by the rest of the field. He gets pushed out wide through the Variante Alta, and the rest of the field are just going to swallow him up completely.
We say wheel to wheel, but this time we mean it. Hand-to-hand combat and a lot of dents going down. We're not even through our first lap here. So much action there, and you really do see some of the merging of the cars here as we really do fight it out in the cage. So many spots as Kalavi looks like he might be dropping out or maybe just having some connection issues there. The top of the field still owned by him if he decides to keep connecting, but for Perwin Burns, they are leading the pack for now, although Burns climbing up there is still making his way towards the top.
Pretty sure it was Oliveira in first place when we last saw it, so
right.
Not sure what happened to Oliveira. Yeah, Oliveira is actually dropped off. Gulhavi's taking the lead a bit. Burns in second, Berwin still third somehow out of all of that, as we are watching Gaspar try to fend over Resende with the Brazilian on Brazilian battle, bringing a Frenchman into play. Verstappen goes onto the inside! Verstappen goes for Enzo. What a move there from the Dutchman.
Big move. Verstappen, but he can't hold on. He's down back, but he might still have it. He's going for it again, but can't make it stick. So Verstappen got a feel, a taste of the top 5. Miranda takes it back.
Looks like a poor qualifying may not be such a bad thing after all, because he did start closer to the top 5 as he was qualifying when he was in P6. But he's looking really punchy right now. Miranda really had his hands full there, as up in front, those guys are trying to make a beeline for it. They know the fact that who's coming right now is very close.
And coming forward again is Max Verstappen, back behind Miranda, who is defending for his life. 20 hundredths of a second behind, and that is all that's separating as they go wheel to wheel. Verstappen up into the top 5.
Oh, that was a textbook move coming into the first Miranda. Then I think he didn't want to defend too hard because he knows full well if he went too narrow, he's going to slide off into the gravel. Now he's trying to actually get some clean air, but he's letting a couple other guys behind, including Gines. But Verstappen, though, is a man on a mission. Top 5 in his sights. Next up for him is Kyle Gaspar, just 9/10 of a second in front.
We did have Oliveira pop back up to the top there, so in case that looks weird, we're going to adjust the places by 1. So still fighting for what that looks like, but Miranda dropping out there. It's a big spin.
Oh, that was just touching the AstroTurf on the outside, coming at Tamburello, causing that particular instance, as a bit of dust was being kicked up because Oliveira's connection issues still persisting here, but somehow he's still up in front of Burns, Kulhavi, and Perwin in 4th.
My God, just look at some of these the greatest racers out there struggling because the field is so difficult, so competitive. You've got Gael Valero, got flipped back down, and he's actually fallen by 4 spots so far. Gustavo Ariel, one of the best racers here, though, is having the opposite effect. He has climbed 7 spots and still has his eyes laser set on the lead, but he has a very difficult field in front of him. A second ahead is Inez. Verstappen also there in 6th. He's got a mighty move to make on Kyle Gaspar in front. We hop on board with both Ariel and Gaspar back and forth. We're trying to check out what is still a middle of the field, actually the entire field, the top 10, separated by less than a second.
Yeah, what happened to Miranda at the start of this lap? Looks as though he got tapped. In fact, Gines tapped him around, so that's going to be a bit of abscess in the steward's room. But on board now with Josh Bowie, he's got Kyle Gaspar right behind him, and behind that particular BMW Mercedes is Max Verstappen, so he's actually not as close as he was in the previous lap to overtake. As Gaspar lines one up, coming to Tamburello, no way through. Perwin holds firm.
Yeah, can't make it happen just yet, but Josh Perwin, man, this is a guy that has had previously in Season 2 of AMX Global League some of the best finishes out of any of our competitors. Lullum now dropping. That's pretty surprising to see him down where he started in 14th. But back to what I was saying, it's going to be a defensive drive of his life there for Perwin. His rearview mirror is full of, and there it is. That's what I was talking about. Around the inside, it's Gaspar, and now Perwin dropping back as Verstappen climbs back up into the top 5.
And I jinxed it there. Reed, you were about to say he needs to pull on a defensive move. And just as you said it, on cue, Gaspar pries the door open coming to Tosa, and he says, thank you very much. I'll have plenty of that. But now, he's going to have to do the exact same thing with a fast-charging Max Verstappen as we come through the halfway point of this race.
That's right. Now, I really hope we get to see some cams up here because you got to know these faces are looking serious. Super serious. As Max Verstappen now on board with him as he looks to find his way around Kyle Gaspar. One of absolutely the greats there, representing Tony Kanaan Racing, of course, trying to defend against Verstappen, who can't do it enough. Comes right around the outside, smooth as you like, up into the top 4.
Wow, the exit coming out of Variante Alta was the one that made that particular move. Verstappen making overtakes look easy here at Imola when some of the drivers have actually come a cropper. Now we go back up to the front as Verstappen's teammate Tommy Burns on the back of Oliveira. Oliveira then has to actually go really defensive here to prevent an onslaught of Ferraris coming at him. Done a good job so far using the power of the Lamborghini just into head of the Ferrari coming to Tamburello.
That's right, it's an all-animal. We got the zoo up front and on board with Pedro Oliveira. He is absolutely driving for his life right now. Seriousness on his face reflected in his racing crowd, trying to keep things tight as he can, but man, closing the distance. Tom Burns. I was talking about this guy just moments ago, and you can really see him looking for the driver of his life, like I said. So we'll see if he can hold on to that when we check out battle for 6th in picture-in-picture there for just a second, because it is absolutely as hot as it gets all across the field. Quarantine Guinness we saw in that picture fighting for that coveted 7th place spot.
Verstappen gets through up to P3 from Kulhavi, so Kulhavi got a very poor exit coming out of Tosa. That's Verstappen through, and now he's onto the podium with two red line Ferraris up in 2nd and 3rd. That's very close then from Burns. Nearly loses it coming out of the Variante Alta. That was full commitment and Oliveira might have been watching in horror there if he was going to get collected.
Yeah, man, just going skating a little bit out there on the ice rink. It's hard to keep it together when you're trying to go for such an aggressive move. Tom Burns is a killer, and he's got his eyes set, laser focused on the lead. Oliveira is still doing a great job, though. He is keeping it clean and absolutely doing his best to continue to set some of the fastest laps we've seen all race long. But time is running out, Amir. We are 6 out of 8 laps through our time on IMola tonight, and Tom Burns is still absolutely coming. You check out some of those lap times being put up there. Still room for improvement, though, as we did see those 141s popping up. And obviously, you're going to have to slow things down a little bit before racing with other drivers. But the goal, the dream, is still out there and alive. For guys like Tom Burns, you can continue to see marauding the backside of Pedro Oliveira.
See that Verstappen was faster that time round, coming up to sector 5 by more than 0.2 of a second. So he's reeling them in because they're both starting to battle quite hard. And if they battle even harder, they're going to let Verstappen come through at the rate of knots. So 3 laps to go then. Anything can still happen here with Burns now hounding the back of Oliveira as they come up to the Aqua Minerale.
He's really trying to fake him out, inside, outside. Where's he going to go? Very defensive driving, if that's what you want to call it, from Oliveira. But Burns is looking so hard. He's got his telescope out. He's got the night vision goggles flipped down. Can he see a way past the way, I don't know, kids see why they like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something? I don't know. Oliveira still driving for his life. Verstappen closing the distance, though. Came past Kalhavi. He's now 1.4 seconds back, and with a second left to drive, he really has the chance now 8 tenths. He is climbing tenths every corner.
Yeah, Oliveira is slowing everybody up here. He's the cork in the bottle, and Burns might just be feeling a bit frustrated because he knows full well that he could try to get him through the corners, but again, on the straight, Lamborghini has the legs on the Ferrari, and Oliveira using all those 600 horses in that Lamborghini to just edge ahead once again.
Yeah, and look at that, the times coming through. The only time in the top 10 under 142 is Max Verstappen, who is still closing in on his teammate, Thomas Burns. Or is Burns Verstappen's teammate? I don't know how that order goes. Either way, it's about to change up if Burns can't put the pedal to the metal. He is still trying to fight for that lead while he keeps checking that rearview mirror. Well, let's see if he might have to stop that and look forward more as he comes around the corner on the inside. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. He is absolutely going for it right now, but he cannot overtake the raging bull of Pedro Oliveira's Lamborghini. Whoa!
And there we go! Burns touches the side of Oliveira coming to Piratella, and Verstappen goes through to take the lead. He just said, thank you very much. Those two guys touched, and he will now try to conserve this lead all the way to the end. What a battle, but unfortunately, it had to end so acrimoniously.
Now, bye-bye. That is how the cookie crumbles, and what a way to go. 7 laps through 8, and it does not go very well there. Burns out again. A little bit of deja vu from earlier on today, but in this case, Max Verstappen still gets to keep racing, so an improvement, I might say. The interval, the top spot, the lead, the pole position. Max Verstappen up there, but Oliveira did slow down after that contact and is still solidly in second. Flavi solidly in third, and the race for this top 5 is absolutely insane. As we get a chance to look at what happened there, yeah, just turning in on him around the corner a little bit. Thomas Burns and Oliveira crash out, and that gives Max Verstappen a solid lead as we hop on board with Kyle Gaspar, who is trying desperately to break in that intense battle for the top 3.
I think Burns should have been a bit more circumspect, knowing for a fact that Oliveira was just struggling a bit, especially on the exit. He had the power on the Ferrari, but he had the cornering ability, so he could have waited at least another corner. That's a collision there. There goes Ginez's front bumper, but somehow he still cut it back on. Owen goes through. It's all kicking off here in the final lap, Reed.
A big save there, and he hits him again. A little bit of a bump there at the backside, and this is some hand-to-hand combat in the back. It is so dangerous here. Ariel gets passed up there as Ginez goes fourth, and now the battle for that top 5 spot heats up even more. We are cooking through our final lap here tonight in heat number 1, and don't forget we got another one. We're doing it again right after. So let's see how things will finish out. Where are the final cars going to align. It is a 2-second gap between Verstappen, Oliveira, Calabi, but who will join them in that top 5? We're on board with Josh Perwin, who did a great defensive drive earlier and finds himself once again back in that 6th place spot. Can he go faster? He's climbing so much. Oh my God, what a push. Look at that, overtaking Ariel easy as you please into the 5th. We are about to wave the checkered flag as Max Verstappen roars through into a 1st place finish any second now, and there it is. Oliveira coming through 2.5 seconds behind. Calabi will be your top 3, the final podium sitter there. Guinness cannot finish the overtake, and a whole host of the rest of our top 10 racers coming through for the final time on what is an amazing finish to our first heat here on Imola.
That makes it 3 wins at Imola for Max Verstappen, 1 virtually, of course, the other 2 being actual Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix wins. But what a way to do it for Verstappen. He bided his time, waited for the right opportunities to overtake, and just hangs back a bit when the top 2 fought it out, and unfortunately came a cropper. That, I would say, is why he is a 3-time world champion, Reed.
What a way to finish, what a race. This is the final results for, or these are the final results for heat number 1, and we're going to take a look at them before moving on to our final heat of the night here in AMX 10. So let's see where things finished out. The number 8 car, Max Verstappen in number 1. Pedro Oliveira and Gaston Calabi round out your top 3 with Corentin Guinness and Josh Perwin there in the top 5. Some really big moves there towards the end. That final crash really changing the way that top 5 would look, with Ariel down in 6th, not where I expected to see him at all. And of course, Tom Burns nowhere to be seen, headed all the way back out down to the bottom of field. And that is going to be a really difficult start for him if he wants to make some sort of recovery drive happen in the future. But overall, man, what a way to end our first heat of AMX 10 tonight.
Yep, there's plenty more where that came from. Another 8 laps of frenetic action here in Heat 2.
Rev of the engine starting as we begin our second heat of the night. It will be a rolling start as we get through into what can only be described as a desperate attempt to live up to all of the action we saw in our first heat of the night. Can it do it? I am a big believer. If you didn't catch our previous race, we raced AMX 0 before that, and this is supposed to be even better. But it was such a banger. I was like, how are we going to improve? What are we going to do to top what was an incredible first race tonight? And I think we're well on our way, Amir.
Absolutely. And the fact that fast guys are way at the back, especially Verstappen in P15, is going to have his work cut out. Gustavo Ariel and Kieran Harrison up in front. So they're at exactly where Max was in race number 1. So they're probably going to make hay while the sun shine there as the drivers aggressively warm up their tires. Green flag, Reed.
Green flag, we are go for our time in the pits.
Oh, Verstappen's off into the pits. That's a surprise.
That's not the right way. You're supposed to be the other way. Maybe the tracks were turned in the wrong direction there. I'm not sure where that's going, but in the end, that's the way it starts. Boas, Valero, Ramos, Blanco, Lolum, your top 5. Let's see what it looks like as I think it's Valero tumbling down. Zamperlini drops a spot. Everything changing up as you see much faster start. And in fact, a very slow one, a big spin in the back. To start things off, we're on board with Ariel, who is on a charger. A top 5 start for him and a very, very good start to the race for quite a few of our bottom placing drivers. Oliveira climbing up, Calabi Guinness trying to make their way up, as well as we're on board with Lullum, a guy that we've seen win races before, trying to do it again, climbing at a rocket's pace through the top 5 into 3 if he can make his way past Blanco.
And one of the big casualties there was Josh Perwin, so he got taken out, probably a bit of a touch, or he touched the grass. Whatever it is, he's out of the reckoning for this one, as Ariel, Lullum, and Blanco following suit here up in front. So the red line boys are up to 1st and 7th. With, sorry, well, not 7th because Harrison is actually part of SimRC, but Lullum being the first of the red line guys in 3rd, as major collision at the very end of the altar, Reed.
Oh, that's going to do it for Centro de las Boas. Actually, no, he's fine, but like, I'm just trying to find a way to describe Gaston Calavi, his unceremonious exit here. Low Faro, man, the struggle is real, and he will be out of there now. What a way to start. We're not even through our first lap yet, Amir.
Now we're definitely into our second lap here, so Villas Boas and Ramos up in front. Brazilian and Iberian just a second. Lullum is looking really racy here. Coming into Tamburello for the second time. Does he make it through? No. Ariel follows suit as well. So two of the highest rated I-rating guys are in third and fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. That top, we expected to see, and we'll get a quick replay of Gaston Calavi crashing out. Yeah, going to horizontal is really going to clog the choke point there in the back. So, man, pointing backwards and backwards he will go. Standings. Up back on board with Chris Lullum as he is going nowhere but forward. Another big spin towards the back. Who are we looking at? Kyle Gaspar? Really? Wow, what a surprise there. I was expecting him to be testing the best of them. Contesting the best. But not happening this race. He's out of there. Back with Gael Ariel. Ariel up in the top three, but he's got his work cut out for him with Lullum on a charger trying to overtake Andres Boas, consistently staying in that top spot.
It'll be interesting to see the Ferrari versus BMW battle because we saw now how Lamborghini and Ferrari, Lamborghini was much faster on the straight. BMW should be good around the corners, but how is it on the straights? It looks as though it's a bit of a dart compared to the Ferrari. Again, the Ferrari does have the legs on the BMW on the straights, but through the corners, that's where it makes up most of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. A big move there by Lullum. I think he's going for it around the outside. Can he make it happen? Absolutely charging back, but on the outside of the curve. I think he's still got him. Look at the moves. He is pedal to the metal. The fastest lap goes his way, as I think he might persist too wide for the rest of time. Not enough time, though, for Boas as he falls back, gives it to Lullum, and will bide his time before trying to take back what was a monster move. Chris Lullum in the lead.
Wow-wee. And BMW Ferrari were quite evenly matched there. Yes, the BMW had a bit of a legs up on the Ferrari, but the Ferrari once again proving why it's the best car around Imola. Lullum making full use of that, taking the lead. Ariel goes through into P2. Now it's going to be a straight fight between the highest I-rating drivers in the server.
Yeah, absolutely. The black bars up there at the top, and I am here for it. Lullum, Ariel, Boas, Harrison, Blanco, your top five with Gael Valero on a move to try to get in there. He's only 2/10 back for now. Let's check out the onboard for Rafael Blanco. He is absolutely doing his best here to hold on to top five, and I honestly think it is a hold move right here rather than trying to move. Obviously, you're going as fast as you can. So let's see what he can do with it on board now with Rafael Blanco. Get a chance to see what his rig looks like. And his focus there still incredibly tense as we near really sort of the make or break part of our race. We're right in the middle as we decide whether or not you get to make it through these final laps, right? That's where the tension is. We've got to make it there. And this is where we find out if you do. Rafael Blanco doing a great job on his defense there, but I think Valero is still gaining. So if he doesn't stop that somehow, it is just going to go from bad to worse. And I think worse is about to happen right now, Amir. Gael Valero, pedal to the metal, moving in around the outside, going for it. Valero up into fifth.
Yeah, BMW versus Mercedes that time around. The Mercedes, look at the crunch that V8 was producing on the straight. Valero was passing as if Blanco was standing still, and Blanco has even more problems here because he got a bit squirrely on the exit. Resende is about to go to pieces.
Oh my God, it just continues. The fire getting hotter, blue flames everywhere. Aaron Harrison right now lighting it up, going up third as he passes Sandro Los Boas. So that is a hard move to make, and he does it, and he makes it look easy. Now, we get a chance to
that was quite lit, wasn't it?
Quite. The fire emoji. Throw them in chat. That's the only possible way I can think of to describe the greatness we just saw on our screen. So Boas dropping back, but let's see how much back he is going to drop, because Gael Valero charging through guys like Resende, like Blanco, into that top five means that this is where the battle will be for the next few corners, and I think it's going to go to Valero. He was making up quite a bit of time in order to get those passes through. So let's check out what things look like towards the back of the pack on board now with Gianni Vecchio, one of the leaders, the winners of previous heats. He's trying to do it again, but he's down in ninth and has quite the distance to make up. He's defending against Dornella, but I think Dornella might be dropping, reading his times correctly. And with Pedro Oliveira ahead of him, he's got his work cut out for him.
Vecchio overtook Dornella coming into the Variante Alta, so that's where Dornella lost a bit of time, and he's going to lose even more so because he's actually lost a bit of the draft there. So Eliseu might be next one lining up to make a maneuver. As out of the pits comes a few other drivers, including, it looks as though Ramos. Oh, that's very tight. You do not want to come out in the middle of heavy traffic, and that's exactly what's happened to Ramos. He's going to get swamped.
Yeah, Ramos just nowhere to go there. I mean, what are your options? It's a tense moment. You've got nanoseconds to make it, and yeah, sometimes there's not a lot of options at your disposal there. So we're not on board with Blanco as he is in seventh, trying to defend against guys like Oliveira Vecchio behind him, Rezenje, and this man on your screen right now, Gael Valero. He climbed his way, fought tooth and nail for fifth, and now he's trying to make it one better, closing in on Sandro Villas-Boas. So let's see if he can make this move happen. He's absolutely sharking for it. Narrow part of the track right now, so probably can't make it happen just yet. But this corner through, and I think it might be about time.
Yep, coming out of Equa Minerali, that's a good run there, but through the Variante Alta, you can't get two cars through. It's going to be quite tight for Valero on the inside. Villas-Boas, he does make it stay heavy on the brakes. Yep, really heavy and late on the brakes.
Right, and it's a great thing to talk about. Early and late, not a good combination if you want to keep your spot. Gael Valero waited until the final nanosecond to hit that brake, head around the corner, keep it on track, and he does into fourth.
Really moved there, but credit to Villas-Boas as well. He gave plenty of racing room, and he played a game of chicken there with Valero, but Valero took it and manages to snatch away fourth place in the process.
There's a name on our board we haven't seen for a while. Watch this move by Oliveira. I think he's going for it. I think he has Blanco here. Yeah, I think he just reached into the cookie jar and took his lunch money. You want to mix some metaphors there. There's a name on the board we haven't seen for a while, and that's Max Verstappen moving up, and he's actually making up a bunch of time if you watch that time here. So I actually think that a top 15 drive is not out of the running here if he wants to make up 40 seconds. I believe, but that's your outlier stat for the race. And a race that incredible happened. We're going to find out in the next 2 laps. But let's keep an eye on what we have happening here in the top 5. Sandro Villas-Boas now defending against a charging Jackson Revenge, if you want to put it that way, trying to break in to what is about the most tightly locked safe there exists. It's going to take more than a lawyer to lockpick that as Rezenje tries his way. And I think he's closing. Oh, actually, no. Boas with a big, a great move around the corner. Keeps his place and holds on for what might just be long enough. We're running out of time in our final 2 laps, Amir.
Yep, as we're looking for the bike. Oh, Vecchio! And Blanco going through. Blanco is facing the wrong way. Hopefully he's not going to spin the traffic. Nope, puts on the brakes, and I think he's just going to call it there, Breed.
He really will. Even Vecchio now dropping back. Keeps it together, pointed the right way, but the damage is done, and it's going to be even more difficult than it already was for him to climb any farther up in the standing.
And if Vecchio is going to drive the rest of the way with a compromised car, that's not going to help him in his cause. As we look at battle here between 5th, 6th, and 7th, Oliveira rounding the rear of this particular one, Resende in the middle, and Villas-Boas up in front. So that's the sandwich that you were talking about earlier, aka the mortadella sandwich with Brazilians.
Indeed it is. Vecchio really interrupting what is a very green middle of the pack. We're reforesting in the mid-grid. And let's take a look at that Vecchio crash earlier. Pinches him on the inside, and there it is, a spin and not a win. The Vecchio does go through. It is not the way he wanted to go.
Unfortunately, that's caught on camera as well, so probably some inquiries afterwards. As now, got caught in 4K completely, literally as well, as if some of you guys also streaming in 4K. But yeah, Villas-Boas has been defending all race, and amazingly, still in that top 5. He still has to defend even harder now, knowing the fact that his fellow countrymen are right behind him.
Indeed they are. Jackson Resenje on board with him. He's got Boas ahead, and that is the top of the standings when it comes to the green flags out there, with the exception of Ariel, who's in second. Up there way at the top. We'll top on board with Jackson Resenje as we see what he can do. Currently the gatekeeper to that top 5. Although the gates are under attack by Boas Oliveira and Vecchio right before.
Yeah, he actually overtook Villas Boas coming to the Variante Alta, so he literally just tried the door open easily because, again, Villas Boas just left the door open too easily to let someone through, and now he's going to be under the advances of Pedro Oliveira.
The white flag is out. We are waving it as our final cars come through for the final lap of this race. Heat number 2 is here and now, and it's about to be over. You better get it while you can. Really limited resources. These are non-renewable. You got to get it while you can. It's the last final moments of our time here at Imola. Let's see what Oliveira can do. He's had a great drive, both Heat 1 and Heat 2, and he's trying to do it again. Let's see what Boas looks like. Vecchio Oliveira. This midfield is going to be competitive down to the wire, Amir.
Yep, and falling off the oil a bit was Villas Boas. He really got his block pick there. As around the outside goes Vecchio, trying to go over and under against Oliveira, but Oliveira was really up to it.
Vecchio is on a burner. 17 places made up. I had no idea this was even possible, but if anybody can do it, it is the sole Italian representative here tonight in flags, as far as that's concerned. Let's see what happens as he closes in on Oliveira. Nose to tail, and looking to move around the outside. He's got the draft, but he doesn't have the time. We're almost done here, about halfway through our final lap, and he's got the movement through the chicane. He almost has it, but didn't quite hit the angle he wanted, so drops a little bit back for now.
Yep, but he only has one final chance coming up to Ribata as Lolum goes up to the start-finish line to take it. Oh, that's a big hit! Vecchio a bit over-committed through it and into the gravel. He goes. That's it, that's his race gone.
Vecchio, moments, seconds, just millimeters from the finish line, and Vecchio goes out. And he'll finish right next to Max at the bottom. What? How do you even call that? Just push it. Oh my God, what a way to finish. You could not predict absolutely any of this. As we finish out the lineup, it is it's a beautiful scenic photo finish for Lolum. He has so much distance between him. Likewise, Ariel, Harrison, Valero, and Resenje, your top 5. But that middle of the pack, so crazy that it even ate up one of our best competitors there. And kind of sad to see Gianni Vecchio drop down there and out of the final lap in number 2. What a way to end our day.
Yep, and we're still just on the midst of finishing up as Verstappen then going for fastest lap of the race, and he does have it. He's the only one in the 41s as he comes across the line. Still holds that fastest lap at the end of the race.
You love to see it, and really it is truly a privilege to watch what was a great drive in lap 2, a nice spin to finish, or heat 1, nice spin to finish heat 2, and really just non-stop action the entire way around as we finish off our standings and our time here on Imola. What a way to do it. What a way to go and cruise. Just what kind of racing. Couldn't have said it better. Amir, what do you have to say about these standings?
Well, it's kind of like the story of the race where the fast guys came up to the fore, and for Chris Lolum, Gustavo Ariel, and Kieran Harrison, they showed their class when others have faltered along the wayside. So really then, it's a well-deserved podium for all 3.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Really, really impressive how closely the top 5 was contested the entire race long. Even top 10 down there. The 7th to 10th, you absolutely could not predict that going into the final lap. But on your screen, it's Chris Lolum. Big win for Team Redline up at the top. And really, 3 of our best teams represented, 4 of our best teams at the top. Redline, Texaco Racing by Tony Kanaan, SimRC, and Apex Racing Team, the top 4. As we scroll down, the prize money goes down to 15th. We did see Fabio Zamperlini narrowly make his way into that. Flavian Perween right above him. as we closed down there, we did have those fastest laps be attempted by guys like Max Verstappen, and right next to his unfortunately crushed teammate Gianni Vecchio, together with Gerardo Ramos and a whole host of also-rans. Tom Burns also with an amazing race until it was unceremoniously executed there at the end, along with Quarantine Guinness, who also had similar issues facing him. So, man, what could have been, Amir? We were so close to seeing 3, 4, 5 drivers easily up there in the top 10, and unfortunately couldn't hold it together there until the final moments. But what a way to finish our time in GT3s on Imola.
Yep, it's a car and track combo that has absolutely delivered some of the best racing I think we've seen so far this entire weekend. And the cherry on top of the cake, we saw Verstappen winning at Emilia-Romagna once again. So really then, I cannot have at best asked for a better way to end off the weekend.
Totally agree. This is the end of our weekend here and your weekend out there. We hope you enjoyed your time, whether it was in your sim rig or in your chair watching some of the great action here tonight. And in truth, I would say, Amir, that it doesn't get better than this, but we got like 50 races left to go this season. So, and if you split those 50 races into its 3 component parts, each race has a qualifier, Heat 1 and Heat 2, then it's like 50 times 3 races. So 150 chunks of awesomeness left to go so far. So it looks like we are setting up for our first few interviews, and might even get a chance to talk to our final Heat winner, Chris Lullum. So we are ready to go with that. I think we might go ahead and roll into it. So getting ready for interviews, and we'll get a chance to talk to some of our racers and let you guys hear from some of them. Have that coming up next. All right, going ahead and welcoming to the show, Chris Lullum. Not your first time here at AMX, but what'd you think of the races today?
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly chaotic. The start of the second race is sort of what put me in the position to win the main second race. But yeah, I was under a lot of pressure from Gustavo at the beginning. First 6-7 laps, only with a couple laps to go, I think he got a slowdown, but it was pretty tight hot lapping until right up to the end there. Yeah, race 1 didn't go my way, but I'm happy with race 2.
Yeah, I mean, reverse grid is a little bit crazy, and there aren't a lot of tournaments that run it. So we're trying to keep it like fun and competitive, but that also introduces that element of chaos. So what were your thoughts, race 2, race 1, navigating things flipping around? How do you decide whether or not you're trying to drive defensively and just stay alive, or get into the position that you got put into in race 2?
Yeah. The format makes it very much dependent on the way you manage yourself in traffic, slower cars around you, faster cars around you, So race 1 obviously didn't go my way, and then race 2, get a good jump at the start, have clean passes over to the lead, and then it goes your way. It can very easily swing with 4 against you with this kind of format.
All right, now tonight we were driving GT3s on Imola. I'm guessing it's probably not your first time in that car or that track, but how do you think that fits together? Are there any tips for aspiring drivers, or did you have some difficulties with that combo tonight?
Well, no, obviously I know the car and the track very well, but I hadn't driven this specific combo before. But with Imola, the main thing often ends up being, the way you can handle the curbs. You've got sausage curbs, turn 1, turn 3, and back to chicane, the last corner. Everything's about nailing the bouncing, and the way the car bounces off every curb is where you gain the lap time, really.
Yeah, we really did see a lot of those gains. I feel like you really dodged a few bullets tonight with several of your teammates just being so close to making it up there to the top 3, top 5, and got taken out by some shooters. But were you driving specifically defensively to stop that from happening, or did you just get a little bit lucky there at the end?
In the second race, I definitely got lucky at the start. I think the left line didn't go off so well, but no, the first race I didn't have anything specific in mind. I mean, it's just the way the cookie crumbled, really.
Yep.
So I think Max got quite lucky with Tom's incident. in the middle of the lap, I saw something happen there. He almost rejoined into me, and then Max took the win in race 1. But no, there was nothing planned.
Well, yeah, congratulations. That last race was pretty nice. Before we go, do you have any shout outs or final comments before we finish up?
Well, yeah, of course. Can thank Gianni for hosting, our Team Redline streams alongside AMX. These things are always fun to do for us. Evenings after we had other various competitions this weekend, we can show up, a little bit of practice before the qualifying, and we all have a lot of fun. So that's the main thing.
Well, it's good to have you and the guys out here, and we're glad you guys had a lot of fun. Hope to see you back here again soon, and good luck in the rest of your races.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into interview number 2. I am joined for the first time by Gustavo Ariel. Now, you have just recently joined these AMX races in the last few. So what is it like to race in AMX? Crazy reverse grids and cars and tracks that we have here.
Well, it's a pleasure to participate because all my teammates participate here in since maybe season 1 or 2. So yeah, to be here driving with against these amazing drivers is a pleasure. I managed to do very good races today and to always drive in the top 5. So it's my main goal for 2 inverted grids, driving always on the top 5. Today I did a very good lap at IMola with no draft, preparing the tires and doing pole against these other drivers it's very good. I was very happy with my lap. And race 1 I gained like almost 10 positions. On the last lap I have a problem with some other drivers, and unfortunately I crash and I lose 3 positions at the end. But yeah, P6 and P2, it's very good to do my official debut here, and I'm glad to participate against these other drivers with my teammates. And yeah, both races on GT4 and GT3s are very fun. The track of the GT4 it's new for me, so it was very fun to drive on this layout of Sebring. So yeah, I'm glad to be here again and to have the opportunity to fight against the best drivers in the world.
Well, we're glad to have you, and I gotta ask, most of the competitors tonight had 4 digits in their iRating. How do you get up to almost 11,000 iRating? What's your secret?
Well, of course, when you have more than 8-9K rating, it's very difficult to gain more. So you need to know what races you can do to finish on the top 3 mainly. So yeah, it was very good. It was very long, the process, and it's very good to be here on the 10.9. I'm currently number 1 on the start. So yeah, that's another dream come true for me. And to drive in the World Championship this year was another thing that I achieved, and we won 3 races in the rookie year. So yeah, this year it's been very good to me. Maybe I reach all of my objectives, personal objectives, one in the World Championship, be the top 1 in iRating, and to fight these other drivers, and we're still learning. So yeah, I think the main secret is to select some categories that you like and maybe do races that only you feel comfortable on this level. So yeah, if I finish second in some races now, I lose a rating, so I need to choose what races I can do to not lose like 200. And if I won the race, I gain like 10 or 5. So yeah, it's a tricky process, and I'm glad to put Brazil in the number 1 of the ranking. And I know for some people this don't mean nothing, but for me it's one of the the best things you can achieve in a racing. So yeah, I'm happy to put Texaco, to put Tony and all the sponsorships there on the top. So yeah, I'm happy. I want to say a big thank you again to Texaco Racing by Tony Kanam, Toyota Gazoo Racing Brasil, HB, Logitech, and my family for all the support, my girlfriend. So yeah, let's fight to another possibilities to race here and see if we can have time to participate again.
Well, you're having a great year so far, Gustavo, and I wonder we have to move on, but before we go, do you have any message for your Portuguese language speaking fans out there?
Well, I will speak a bit in Portuguese. Galera, obrigado quem assistiu aí. Foi sensacional correr com esses caras aí. Tô feliz demais em conseguir vencer fazer a pole e chegar bem nas corridas. Então, um abraço para todo mundo aí, continue acompanhando e torcendo. Vamos representar o Brasil da melhor forma possível. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You're having a great year. We hope it keeps getting better. It was great to have you here today, and we hope to see you again here soon.
Yeah, my pleasure. See you guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, we're done with our interviews. Amir, did you gain any nuggets of wisdom from listening to our pros today?
Yeah, pretty much, especially given the fact that I want to do some iRacing online official races. I would have to be a bit more choosy with what I do, because those guys, you can hear that they're actually very particular in what they do so that they could get most out of it, because they know they want to go into a race, they have at least a half chance of winning rather than being a grid filler. So that is some really great insight to how these guys work.
Yeah, it is really crazy when you're up there and if you drop one more spot, you're doing the math in your head. You're like, okay, if I finish outside the top 10, I'm losing like hundreds of I rating here. When you're just that good, you're like, oh, wow, another first. Time to hit that +5. It really is crazy. So it's really great to hear from some of the best sim racers out there. And it's not even like they're that far away from the rest of the grid in tournaments like AMX 10. We are really running at the very top level. So we had some amazing races tonight, AMX 0, AMX 10, and we really hope that you enjoyed the show tonight. And we hope that we see you back here again. So make sure to follow, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do on Twitch and YouTube to make sure to remember to come back. We're doing it all over again next week. If you want to keep up with the schedule, make sure to follow us on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram. You can see the links right down there below your screen. If you'd like to join and be a part of the remaining 50 races left in AMX Season 3, you can do that by heading on over to our website at amxrace.com. There you can sign up for free for AMX 0, and if you're fast, you can get in for free into AMX 10, $600 on the line every time we go out and race there. We've got a lot of exciting cars and tracks coming up, so the action is just going to get even more exciting. We want to see you there with us. So make sure to join the AMX Discord server. You can see the link right there. Just search AMX Global Discord. It's the first link you find. We'd love to have you join our community. It's just getting better and better, like I said earlier. Okay, I think that's it. That's it for us tonight. We had so many good things today. I got to go spend time thinking about that before we start it all over again next week. We hope to see you there with us when we come back for another week of AMX Global League Season 3.